So it's been confirmed that Superman isn't going to be the only hero that's going to appear in Superman Legacy, since it's been revealed that he's going to share screen time with Green Lantern Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Metamorpho, played by Nathan Fillion, Eddie Gathegi, Isabella Merced, and Anthony Corrigan, respectively. The new DCU is shaping up to be a pretty expansive interconnected world, and I think it's not going to be uncommon to see little crossovers in these movies where other DC characters from different corners of its universe might briefly appear on another character's movie. And while I believe that adding these heroes into the film isn't going to necessarily steal the spotlight from Superman, and it's going to be a movie that mainly focuses on him, but I still think that featuring these other heroes is a smart decision that adds a lot of positive things that I briefly want to talk about. Firstly, these additions serve as a great method of world building. Did you know that Superman isn't the first superhero in the DC universe? In the real world, there's characters like Dr. Occult, which predated Superman in publication history, and canonically speaking, Superman isn't even the first superhero within its universe, since in the post-Crisis continuity, it was established that Superman debuted in-universe in the modern age alongside the other Justice League members like Batman and Barry Allen, which are all meant to be from the same generation. But earlier in the universe, there were other generations of heroes that the people of the DC world knew about. For example, the in-universe original superhero of Gotham City was the Green Lantern Alan Scott, and all of the characters from the Justice Society of America were well-known heroes that fought in World War II. So to have Superman be a new hero in an already established world that is used to seeing superheroes is nothing new. And I find it really cool that this is going to be the first time they adapt this element from the comics of Superman not being the very first publicly known superhero of the DC world. Because while the DCEU did show other superpowered beings existed in its world before Clark Kent, it was still Superman, the first publicly known alien and superhero of its universe. In the new DCU, however, we now know that this Superman is going to be a new hero in a world that already has other superheroes. And not only is it going to save time in explaining the context of this new DCU, it's also going to make the universe more expansive, like it has a lot of history that makes the world feel more lived in. Another thing I wanted to talk about is legacy, since it doesn't seem like it's just going to be the movie's subtitle, but it's also going to be a theme of the movie, given that all of the heroes that were confirmed so far all tie into the legacy aspect of superhero comics. Guy Gardner, for example, is the third human character that's taken up the mantle of Green Lantern, and he's part of an entire corps of intergalactic peacekeepers, something that's most likely gonna be mentioned in the movie. Hawkgirl is also a legacy character with multiple versions of her. We don't know if she'll be a Thanagarian or a reincarnated human in the movie, but the entire reincarnation and multiple iterations aspect of a character will most likely be mentioned as well. Michael Holt is yet another legacy character, being the second version of Mr. Terrific, and both him and Hawkgirl are also members of the Justice Society. And Metamorpho, well, Metamorpho isn't really a legacy character per se, but his appearance in the film does make reference to the legacy of a couple DC superhero teams, since he's a founding member of the Outsiders, a team created by Batman. And while this is just speculation on my part, given that this new DCU Batman will be a bit older and more experienced than Superman, it's possible that he founded a team of heroes in the DCU's past. Also, Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific are one half of a really cool team called the Terrifics, who are pretty much an analog team of the Fantastic Four but in DC Comics, comprised of both of these characters, plus Phantom Girl and Plastic Man. So who knows if they'll also appear in the DCU in the future. Another thing that gives me hope is the obscurity of these superheroes. They are all obscure characters, and that's something that James Gunn works with really well. If the Suicide Squad and the Guardians of the Galaxy films prove anything, is that he's more than capable of reinventing and adding new life onto lesser known comic book characters, while still remaining true to their comic book counterparts and their original appeal in the source material. He seems really comfortable working with overlooked characters, most likely because, unlike with more popular characters, they don't have as much lore and previous background that he might feel obligated to adapt in the writing process. A lesser-known character gives a writer a lot more freedom to reinterpret them in creative and exciting new ways. And I know that all this maybe doesn't sound too appealing to some people. I can totally understand how some might dislike the idea of Superman having to share screen time with other heroes in his very first movie in a new franchise. But I personally see the potential in this idea. We've already had Superman origin story movies that mainly focused on him, and I think that having other heroes will allow room for more storyline possibilities, and the three aspects that I discussed are something that relates to each new superhero that was announced for Superman Legacy, and it all adds a lot more life into this new DCU. Also, a movie like Man of Tomorrow already proves that it's possible to have an effective origin story for Superman that also features other superpowered beings, since it had Martian Manhunter as an alien with good morals unknown to the public, it had Lobo as an alien with bad morals that was known to the public, and Superman was shown as the alien with good morals and that was publicly known to the world from the get-go. He didn't hide like Martian Manhunter, and he showcased the potential that superpowered beings have in order to advance society. And this is mainly why I believe the new heroes announced for the upcoming Superman Legacy are a good fit for both the movie and the DCU at large, because they are thematically appropriate to the story that James Gunn is trying to tell. He didn't include any random superheroes. He chose heroes that tie into the movie, much like in Superman Man of Tomorrow, which was about Superman coming to terms with his alien identity. They included two alien heroes in the movie. And since it seems like the upcoming live-action film is gonna focus on the theme of legacy, James Gunn chose to include legacy heroes into the movie. He chose characters that are thematically appropriate. So featuring other heroes in order to contrast them with Superman is something that presents very interesting storylines, and I hope that's something that Superman Legacy really takes advantage of. But that's only my opinion. I want to know from you guys, what do you think about these newly announced heroes? What are you most excited to see in Superman Legacy? Who do you think will be the villain? And also, what other characters are you hoping get announced for the DCU? Please let me know in the comments what you think, and as always, thank you so much for watching.